for you. So we're going to start off by introducing one of our Monday favorites. So we're going to introduce Robin Garceau, and we're talking about, we always talk to you about design, but you are multi-talented, and today we're going to talk about steps you need to take before you sell your home. So how are you, Miss Robin Garceau?
I'm doing great, thank you.
So good to see you. So you are such an expert in so many categories. So let's talk to you about what it takes, some of the steps you need to take when you're selling your home. And you say whether it's been 5 years or 5 days, you have to do some prep work.
You do. Any of those scenarios, you may say to yourself, okay, well, the kids are getting out of high school in 4 or 5 years, so I think we'll decide we'll put the house on the market then. You may be looking at the market right now thinking, oh, it's a great time to sell, but I don't want to sell quite yet, so maybe you'll do it in September. You may just have gotten a job offer out of town and you have to put your house on the market next week. For every one of those scenarios, there's a way to prepare your house so it's attractive to buyers for when it hits the market.
Okay. And what is the real estate market right now? We were just talking about this a couple minutes ago. It seems like it's picking up again, or maybe it just never died off.
It's definitely a seller's market right now. There's a low inventory in every category, so houses tend to not stay on the market as long as they would before. They're selling for a little bit higher price than normal. So if you're thinking about selling your home, now is definitely a good time to do it. But it needs to be right for you, the right time for you. So today is basically about preparing your house for whatever timetable you have.
Okay, so if you are thinking about selling your home, that's good. It seems like the right kind of market, right kind of environment to do that.
Yeah.
So you said determine your time frame and price point.
So if you have, say, 4 or 5 years and you're looking down the road, don't start thinking about preparing your house 5 years from now. Look at your house now. Maybe you have some big ticket items that you can budget for and change before you actually put it on the market. So say, for instance, you have your heating system.
Oh, yeah.
Your heating system is original to your house. It hasn't been changed in 30 years or whatever. Well, maybe what you should do is think about changing it now. So number one, you can reap the benefits over the next 5 years if it's more energy efficient. So you save your money, that money over the next 5 years to help you pay for it. And when you have a buyer come in, now the heating system's only 5 years old. And they think, oh great, it's only 5 years old. And now they're not thinking about, I have to replace the heating system. So something like that, your roof, you want to look at that. If you're in a more upscale home, you want to think about what's your kitchen like. Kitchens and baths sell a house. So is your kitchen updated? Preferably you can update your kitchen. You don't have to rip the whole thing out. Maybe you want to change the doors out. Maybe you want to paint the boxes, change the hardware, maybe change the countertops, your appliances, things like that. You don't have to do a complete renovation, but I will suggest that you do those updates in order to get, attract the best buyer for your home.
So you said kitchen and baths sell the home.
They really do.
That's super good information. That's
Yeah.
just, well, I mean, and if you think about it, if you're the one on the buying end, you want a kitchen that's already, you were just saying people want everything already done.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what I'm talking about too, where your price point, who are you marketing your house to? So if you are, say you have an upscale home and you want to market it to a younger couple that's coming into that market for the first time, maybe they both have really good jobs, they want a family, they want to purchase a larger home. Those are the people, they've been seeing it. They grew up on HGTV. They grew up on Design on a Dime. They grew up seeing flip homes. Everything's already done for them.
Yeah.
You walk into a house sometimes and it's completely renovated. And we kind of dote on our children of that age, so they don't necessarily want to do houses. They don't want to work on a home. They want to walk in and have things completely finished for them. So in that respect, you want to try to make your home as saleable as possible and be ready to go for when somebody walks in that door.
So someone could essentially walk in and say, I love your home, and make you an offer. Whether you're ready to sell or not.
Absolutely.
What it sounds like.
And I will say, if you are ready to sell, whether it be in a few months or next week, one of the things you want to think about too is, if you're truly ready to sell and you have a good agent and you have and you price your home correctly, you're going to be moving. So just stop boxing
Hang
things
it up.
up. Right, exactly. Why wait till the last minute? Stop boxing things up now so you can make your home look nice. You have to get rid of the stuff anyway. Maybe donate some things, box your knickknacks up that you have, and put it away, because, like I said, if you price it correctly, you will be moving.
I like that idea too. I've kind of held that philosophy, just moving from place to place. I just never unpack. I just never unpack, and then you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so you said determine your time frame and price point. I like that. And then really, you kind of touched on this a little bit, is who's buying? Are you looking at baby boomers? Are you looking at Gen X? Are you looking at millennials? Talk to me a little bit more about that, and how does that figure into how you market your home?
So let's take baby boomers.
Okay.
People that their children are growing and maybe moving out of the house. A lot of them have these large homes, and they're starting to downsize. So even though you have a smaller home, you may be able to market it to a baby boomer, because one of the things that they're doing is they're selling their large homes to either move into maybe a smaller home near the water. They want to buy a less expensive home, because then they'll also purchase a home, say in Florida or South Carolina or whatever. They'll have two homes. Family is here. They want something where they can come to in the summertime and spend their winters down south where it's warm. With them, if they're coming from a luxury home, they're going to want to come into a smaller home that's clean, that's freshly painted, that looks nice, even though it's a smaller home. So just because it's small doesn't mean you don't want it to be luxurious, because that's important to baby boomers as well. Millennials and Gen X, I can't really call them kids because they're adults.
They're adults,
But the kids are growing up now. They have the money, they have the jobs. Some of them have been left money. So they're acquiring money from their parents and their grandparents. Mm-hmm. And instead of spending it on something, they're putting it and investing it into a home. Mm-hmm. So, but like I said with them, they're used to just instant gratification. Yeah. Their technology, everything is done instantly. So for them, if you're going to be marketing your house to Gen X or millennials, then what I would suggest is, if your house hasn't been painted in 20 years, do a fresh coat of paint. And don't paint it the colors that you're comfortable with, that you've had for 20 years. Paint it forward, design forward. Design in a way where millennials will really like it when they walk in the door.
So surprised, looking at places online, looking at real estate, how many pinks and greens and neons, colors that you see of rooms, and you say just go for the neutral. Like how quickly you can sell something if you just take a paintbrush or hire someone to take a paintbrush and just make it a neutral palette. You see these houses with those colors,
right?
And it's priced, and then people avoid them because they can't make the connection that this can be painted.
Right, exactly. And again, like I said, the younger generation, they want to come in and just move in.
Yeah.
They don't want to worry about, oh my God, now I got to paint. So personally, I love rich, deep tones. That's the trend moving forward. But you're not living there. You are doing it to sell. So in that respect, you have to think about who's going to buy the house, not really what you like. One of the people I was working with, I went in and she says, "Oh yeah, I just repainted everything." I said, "Great." She repainted everything the same thing, red walls and teal, and I'm like, okay, it's good that you refreshed it, but it probably wasn't a good idea that you did those colors. Red can be a love-hate thing. Mm-hmm. You either love it or you hate it. You don't want to be in a situation where somebody walks in and goes, "Ooh, I hate these colors," because sometimes they can't get past the fact all they have to do is paint it.
Yeah, you can't. Not everyone can envision changing this to something else.
Exactly, and the psychology of color, it could be another whole program we can talk about, but there are certain colors that make you feel calm. There are certain colors that make you feel tense. So if you're painting your house a color that you walk in and you're all tense, it's not a good feeling for somebody that's wanting to buy the home. So you really want to think of the color palette you're going toward.
So make it neutral. And that's one extra step that, no, you might not want to do it if you're under a lot of pressure and you're moving and you need to sell something, but can go a long way to getting potential buyers in there.
Yeah.
And you also said, too, I thought this was interesting within, we only have a couple minutes left, but walk through your house like you're the buyer. So you're probably you're moving somewhere, if you're selling your house, so walk through your own house like you're a buyer. That makes perfect sense, but probably a lot of people don't do that.
No, because you are comfortable in your own space. So you sometimes don't realize what you see. When you're walking through with fresh eyes, you just want to say to yourself, okay, what did it feel like when I was first walking into this house and we were buying this home? You have to be very careful. People like sentimental things and they want to keep it out.
That's so true.
But if you have...
so we measured them here.
Right.
And, that kind of stuff, too.
And if you have, say, something, okay, you're in Hawaii on vacation and you have this great thing hanging from the ceiling because you loved it in Hawaii, that's wonderful. But if a person has to duck to get around it, or you have all these plants, you love your plants and you water them every day, that's great. But if they're looking at the floor because they have to walk around your plants, they're not looking at the beautiful view outside your window.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
They're not looking at your gorgeous architectural details in your house or how big your family room is. They're looking at, what's hanging
Why
from
do you
your
have so many
ceiling.
plants?
Exactly, and things like that. So you really have to think about not what you like, what the buyer is going to see and like in your home. They're buying your home, they're not buying your stuff. So you have to really think about that when you're putting your house on the market.
That makes so much sense, but hard to think about that when you're going through the whole process of selling.
And it is a very emotional thing. It can be very emotional when you are thinking about selling, but you have to have the mindset, we're going to sell, we're going to move. How do we do this in the best way and make our house most attractive to the buyer that's going to give us the best price?
And especially if you've raised a family there can be such an emotional connection. It can be so hard to be able to separate yourself. And then just kind of as we wrap up, you said stage your home to sell.
So again, when you're walking through your house and you look at things, you want to get rid of the knickknacks, the little things. Little things make you feel nervous and chaotic. If you have a lot of little things, you just walk through and it's a nerve-wracking type of thing. If you have, if it's an older home and you have the religious picture of Jesus on the wall and you have the palms behind the pictures, you want to remove the palms. The religious pictures you may want to remove. Burnt candles you want to get rid of. Dead plants that have brown leaves, just get rid of all of that stuff. The less stuff you have, the better, because people, like I said, will be looking at your moldings. They'll be looking at your view. They'll be looking at how beautiful your home is rather than the things you have in it.
So just the less stuff, more showcasing the home.
Exactly. What are the best traits of your house? Why did you fall in love with it? What's your neighborhood like? What are those things that's going to sell your home?
I love all that information, and so helpful to be able to just have certain points and tips when you're making those steps, whether it's now, within the next few weeks, or within, a couple years down the road, because like you said, a good seller's market right now. And also for people who are walking in through houses, what to look for when they're looking at homes as well. I really like all of that information. Robin Garceau, thank you so much. So valuable as always. So appreciate having you here.
It was great to be here as always.
So let's, if I can get my notes out of here, let's take a picture because we always like having you on here. Always looking lovely in your blue.